HomeServices of America helps home buyers navigate the buying process. In 1998, Berkshire Hathaway bought the company and entered the residential real estate market. Yes. Ron Peltier is chairman and CEO of HomeServices. He joins us now with an outlook on his company and industry, the second biggest, I believe, residential real estate company in the country. Ron, thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk about the problems. It's interesting because Martin Feldstein from Harvard put an op-ed in the New York Times today saying that there is a fix to the housing market industry woes, and that it would include about $350 billion from the government taking on losses from mortgages, or having banks take on losses from mortgages that are more than 110% more than the value of the home. What do you think about what Feldstein had to say?
Well, I think it's a very laudable idea, Matt. There's clearly people that the current home value is below the mortgage, and there are currently about 10 to 11 million homes with negative equity, and we have to figure out a way to resolve this issue. Particularly the homes that are underwater with negative equity by 100%, then there's probably 4 to 5 million homes that have a negative equity 100% more than the mortgage or the current value.
Right. I think actually Feldstein was saying something like 11 to 15 million. If this is the only problem, and if that could be a $350 billion solution, why bother with the $450 billion jobs bill or $1 trillion in stimulus? I mean, wouldn't we just pull the trigger if that were the case?
Well, you know, that would probably be for others to say. I would just say, relative to the real estate industry and home ownership, there is a pent-up demand for home ownership. We've been range-bound at about 5 million existing home sales over the last 3 years, and we're going to finish this year just slightly below that. And until we get jobs in the economy and get people back to work so they can afford a home, together with finding a bottom in price destruction, I think those things are going to be major factors. If we can fix those issues, then I think we're going to see a return to a normal home ownership cycle.
Ron, what's the problem? If there's a pent-up demand, why aren't people going out and buying those homes? Are they worried that the prices will fall further? Do they have trouble getting the mortgage or scraping together the down payment? I mean, what's the biggest issue facing the clients that you talk to?
Yeah, I think there are two issues. Underwriting standards are very, very strict, and there's probably good reason for standards to be much stricter than they were over the early part of the last decade, where there were no standards. But I think they've gone too far. I think the other issue is that again, people need to have jobs. You can't qualify for a mortgage, no matter the rate and no matter how affordable a home is, if you don't have a job. So I think the two gating factors are the underwriting standards, which need to be revisited and possibly looked at in a different light, as well as getting the American people back to work.
Hey, you're a Berkshire Hathaway company. We always love to hear anything about Warren Buffett. Has he given you any insight on his view of the housing market?
Well, I think most recently, I certainly don't speak for Warren, but Warren had predicted, earlier in the year or last year, that thought that housing might recover, sometime this year. I think he's pushed that out a bit. We tend to think that the cycle is close to its end. Probably no recovery starting before this time next year, but I think we're close to the bottom. We're going to be bouncing along the bottom, and I think by the mid to late 2012, we'll begin to see recovery.
All right, Ron, thanks very much. Ron Peltier there, chairman and CEO of HomeServices of America. Now